Hello, beautiful women. My name is Marika Gare, and this is the Inspiration Trilogy, a platform for women across the globe to share wisdom, advice, and just have some meaningful conversations. So today's guest is Harmony Chynoweth. I hope I said that right. Who's a spiritual wisdom, mindset, and business mentor. And you're also a yoga teacher. So welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. This is really cool.
Look, it's great to have you on. For those who may not know you, and for the listeners out there, do you want to share a little bit about yourself and your journey and how you got to where you are?
Yeah, absolutely. So my journey began, I guess, my former career. I was actually a national manager in an international retailer, and I was based in Melbourne. So I worked in retail for over 20 years at a senior level, and I'd kind of, worked my way up since I was 14. And
Wow.
the back end of 2018, I started experiencing really poor mental health from, extreme work. So I was pretty much glued to two phones all the time. The pressure of the sales and all of that sort of thing started to grow. And I just really hadn't had a break for 20 years in my career. So
Wow.
I'm the kind of girl that is like all in or all out on
Yeah.
something. And, after having one of those days where I just was in shock when I got to work at not remembering how I actually got there. I thought
Really?
something needs to change. Like, it was a pretty dangerous scenario when I pulled up into the car park, and the sound of pulling on my handbrake actually, snapped me back into reality. And I thought, crikey, I don't actually remember how I got here. My car kind of drove itself.
You just go on autopilot. Yeah, that's scary.
Yeah, and that was kind of the turning point for me, where I thought something has to change. And so, I guess the shorter version of it is I sold my house, quit my job, and had a caravan made. And I traveled,
Wow.
traveled solo around Australia in 2019 before COVID. I got to Perth, and along my travel, I'd started practicing yoga, and it, exponentially helped my recovery from burnout, which I guess is the nicer way of saying that I had a bit of a mental breakdown and my nervous system shut down, and that helped me recover from, anxiety, depression, and stress. And so I guess I started my yoga journey at the start of 2020, pre-pandemic, and went and did all, my exploration and self-discovery work there. And I had no intention of becoming a yoga teacher, but after doing the training, I just thought to myself, well, more business women need to know about this. Had I known about this and had it been in my life before, I hit burnout, I probably wouldn't have had to leave my job. Hindsight's a beautiful thing. But it helped so much. I just thought more business women need to know about this. And so now I've kind of, merged my 20 years business experience and leadership experience with my yogic training and wisdom, and have now got a program where I mentor business women on, work-life balance, but also to create a business that is sustainable energetically. We talk about, sustainability as an environment, but we don't look after our personal environment. And so I'm really big on that. And so that's what I teach.
Oh, look, I love that you do that, and it's so important because I've reached burnout myself. I know how impactful that is in your life, on all areas of your life, and it's so important. Like, a lot of us do know that we should be doing these things, and we really need to, but we just kind of keep pushing ourselves. And I'm similar in that, and I'm kind of all or nothing. If I'm going, I'm getting it done. And I kind of love that, but at the same time, it's hard to stop. So, and when you kind of get carried away with that, the other things taper off. So look, it's really important that business women do know that. And I love that the universe has a funny way, doesn't it, of showing us where we need to go, even if it's a slap in the face and you've had to change your whole life.
Yeah,
you are where you are now because it's what's right for you, and you're now sharing your guidance and wisdom with other women. So I think that's really, and I love that you travel to Australia solo as well. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I've always wanted to just grab a caravan and go. So
by far the best thing I've ever done in my life, not only to find myself, but just a wonderful experience in general. But yeah, absolutely agree. I think that we are so busy in this life now that We don't actually notice the warning signs our body's giving us. We don't actually notice, you know, all of the messages that our body and the feedback that our body is giving us. And the more we can tune into that, we can go, oh, actually, if I stop trying so hard with this other opportunity will fall into place, or the decision won't be so hard because the decision will be made for me. And, you know, like so many times where I've been like feeling like I'm, you know, for lack of a better term, pushing shit uphill.
Yeah.
You know, and I am like, you know, the more you think you are, you actually are, because you just, you know, you're trying so hard. And I'm a huge believer in that. Yeah, there has to be effort, and you have to be tenacious in business and resilient in life, but it shouldn't be that hard that it's a struggle and that your nervous system can't survive. And the more we actually listen and surrender, what is meant for us will come. Because when we're, you know, pushing something that isn't working, we're actually stopping what is meant for us coming to us. We're not opening up that space energetically or physically in our lives to let it land. So yeah, it's a really important part of this, you know, work-life balance, and it isn't 50-50, and it isn't what people think it should be.
Yeah.
It's more around, what does my body need? What does my life need? What is adding value to my life and my life experience? And how can I help add value to the lives of others just by doing what I love?
Yeah, and creating businesses, as you said, that are sustainable, that aren't going to burn you out. So you may be doing what's right for you. You know, in some ways, it's not always that you're doing the wrong thing, but it's not sustainable in the long term for you, and your business can't sustain either the way. So you have to sort of be willing to, I guess, release some things and yeah, go through a different path. So look, and so with the yoga, what differences did you notice in your mental health and your health from that?
Yeah, look, honestly, the practice of yoga, and this is kind of, I guess, that what is misunderstood about yoga is people think that yoga is about the physical practice of yoga, which is actually not called yoga at all. It's called asana. But people think that it's about the physical practice, about, you know, the shapes that you make, about looking good, about being flexible and all of that sort of stuff. The movement is literally a vehicle to help the body, you know, move in a way that every single part of your body is acknowledged throughout the process of movement. In order to cause stillness of the mind. So you are that concentrated on the physical movement and what is happening within your body through the guidance of a teacher in a class, that actually you can't possibly be engaged in your own thoughts, and you can't be attached to them. And so the primary intention of yoga is, in Sanskrit, they call it Chitta Vritti Nirodha, and that means calming the fluctuations of the mind. And that is its ultimate goal. So by doing yoga, and what yoga taught me was to find that inner peace and that stillness away from all the noise, away from, you know, everyone else's opinions, societal expectations, my own expectations, because our expectations are obviously some of the highest standard that we put out there, and just cutting away all the noise so that it can really come back to you. And I think a lot of people think that they have to start new habits and they have to do new things, and we're adding in things to our lives. And I think it's far less about adding things in and more about cutting things away, like letting go of, you know, toxic relationships or people that just aren't serving you, letting go of poor habits that aren't serving you, whether it's like, you know, turning to alcohol. Like, I know for me, and I don't think I was an alcoholic, but it was just one of those things that when I was really stressed in my last career, and the longer I left it and the worse my mental health got, it was just easy for me to order takeaway and have a wine every night. And you know, I'm a kind of person that probably doesn't really have a drink for like several months on end, but I was finding myself, you know, it began as like maybe a drink on a Friday night, and then it was, okay, well, maybe I'll have one on Wednesday because it's Wednesday. And do you know what I mean? And
Yeah, because you kind of see it as a way to relax yourself and de-stress, but it kind of is kind of counterproductive. But I was the same. I used to love having a glass of wine, I guess, to de-stress and wind down, and that was my Friday night. And now I don't really drink, but once in a blue moon I might have one. But it's just counterproductive. It doesn't help you, but you get into this cycle of kind of going through that.
Absolutely. So I started a morning practice on the road, and that was to, wake up and do yoga. It didn't matter if it was 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour. And I was just practicing following some things on YouTube or an app that I had. This is before I did my training, and I still use those things. Like, a lot of people think, oh, it's just on YouTube, and we get new students at one of the studios I teach at all the time go, oh yeah, I've done yoga, but it's just off YouTube. They're real teachers. They're real teachers. They're really qualified, and there's some really phenomenal teachers on there, and experienced people. So definitely do those. Like, whatever you have access to, do that. And I think people also think that doing these sorts of habits and rituals are really expensive, and they're just so not. There's so much access to free tools and free resources. But ultimately, yoga helped me come back to myself. And every time I feel a little bit out of alignment, or something's not going right, or I feel like I am pushing shit uphill, I just go and step on the mat. And because you don't need to do yoga. Yoga has its way of working things for you. You just got to show up. That's all it's about. And I guess it's, a life philosophy in itself about showing up, right? If you show up for yourself, the rest of it just comes. So it doesn't matter if you just want to, be in child's pose for 30 minutes. Like, it's not about the, the bendy shaping, whatever. It's about just showing up for yourself, and then the rest just takes care of itself. So yeah.
Like you said, it's got so many benefits for your mental health, and it can release sort of stagnant energy within your body and your muscles in different areas. And for someone like myself, not so much now, but in the past, sitting at a desk all day, every day is really bad. You don't move so many different muscles, and your core strength just goes downhill. And so being able to do yoga and just stretch your muscles, it helps with aches and pains and all the sorts of issues that you can have. So it's really kind of have a bit of a trilogy effect, because it helps with your mental health, it helps with your spiritual alignment, and it helps with your physical health. So it is very powerful, and I've done a lot of it in the past as well. I go through my moments where I'm doing it all the time. Like you said, you can't always have that balance. I try to. It's a bit hard also being a single mum. Things don't always go to plan. You do what you can when you can. With a positive mindset and spiritual awareness. So because you're teaching at the moment, right?
Yeah, so I teach yoga a few classes a week at a local studio here in South Fremantle called Spanda Yoga School. It is not my yoga studio. I'm just one of the teachers there, and I run retreats as well. Predominantly run retreats for business women. So if that's definitely of any interest to anyone on the podcast, then definitely check out my socials. But I think that yoga now, we're seeing it more, not just help the physical benefits for health purposes, but obviously mindset and mental health. And I think that coupled with that mindset and clear mental health is when you have a positive mindset and a clear mindset in your life, it translates into business as well. And so, the thought that, like, if I said to someone who's new to yoga that actually if you practice yoga or meditation regularly, that it would actually positively influence the amount of money that you were bringing into your business, people would probably think that there's a disconnect there. But there's absolutely not, because if you're not connected with yourself, then you're not really on purpose in your business, and you're not showing up in your business in a way that is conducive to you being your most organic, natural self, and in a positive mindset to help your own clients, whether that's selling products or it's selling services. And it's all intertwined. And, I always say that businesses and success are built from the inside out, and it has to start with you. I could give you all of the strategy and all of the tools and all of the resources to go and, do the stuff in your business to make sales. But if you actually don't have the self-belief, and if you don't actually have the connection with your own goals, your own mission, because you've maybe borrowed someone else's goals along the way, or you've borrowed someone else's beliefs over time, or you're still letting a trauma from years and years ago impact your life, all the strategy in the world will not work. It will not work if you haven't done the inner work. So that's why I've created a business and a program for business women specifically to merge it all together, so that we start with you first, and we build from there up, because that is the foundation of a good business, is an owner who is connected to purpose and who is connected to themselves, who believes in themselves and their greater mission to help other people.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. And so with your retreats, what kind of things do you cover? I would presume it's not just yoga, like you're saying, you work on your sort of mindset and everything as well. So for those who might be interested in that, what does it involve exactly?
Yeah, so I run a few different types of model of retreat. I do like little half-day retreats and then also some escape retreats where we will go away for 3 or 4 nights. And so depending on how long we've got, I always overcook the content and it feels like there's so much I just want to say to people.
Yeah.
But, you know, realistically, it's a combination of yoga. Like if we go away for 3 or 4 days together, then, you know, we'll do a morning practice together of, you know, yoga, breath work, meditation, and then break for breakfast. And then we'll have a mid-morning, you know, probably for a good couple of hours session on, you know, some spirituality and mindset stuff. I teach yogic philosophy, or a part of the yogic philosophy, and how it applies to modern day life and to business, so that people can really do the actual deep dive work there. And, you know, you don't have to expose your deepest, darkest traumas or anything like that. It is actually a really lovely process. There's 10 pillars that I cover, and these are the yogic, you know, inverted commas, do's and don'ts of happy life, which is really cool because it was the one thing that really resonated with me when I did my yoga teacher training. And I guess everyone that goes to do their yoga teacher training will come away with something different that has resonated. And for me, that's what resonated the most was, you know, these philosophies that are called the yamas and niyamas. And they really talk to the, you know, the ways that we talk to ourselves, the negative self-talk, you know, ego, greed, abundance, waste, how we waste things in our life, how we waste people's time, you know, all of those sorts of things. And so we do big deep dives on that sort of stuff. In my smaller half-day retreats, we even do like just a small part of that. And I guide people through a self-inquiry process so that, you know, any day of the week, you have the tools you need to reflect back to yourself. Okay, cool. What do I need today? What's happening here? How am I feeling? And not stew on it, but actually do something about it. Because I think a lot of people will be like, oh, you know, woe is me, or this is happening. I start to feel sorry for themselves. It's not about that. It's about actually acknowledging it and then doing something about it. You know, it's the same with, you know, business. It's you find a problem, find a solution, do something about it by taking action, you know. So that's kind of how I work with that too. So yeah, the weekend away is just a really nice immersive way to get more time to get a consistent practice happening for yourself, get one-to-one guidance and group guidance with a mentor on the spot, because, you know, it is completely different when it's over Zoom or in person. And I love in person as well. I'm a bricks and mortar retailer by trade, so I love being in person with people just as much as I like being online. But yeah, it's just a more I guess immersive style way to onboard mindset knowledge, spirituality knowledge, get curious about yourself, and as things come up, you've got support there, because sometimes things can come up that are confronting, and if you're on your own, you don't know what to do about them, but, you know, you have a mentor there and you have a community there. And I think community has really been lost in not only our modern society, but we've come through a pandemic that, you know, has traumatized a lot of people. And so many people have now, you know, reclused and have gotten used to being on their own or being at home, and I think that we've lost that connection, even just
We
through
really
social
have.
media. It's like, yeah, let's send a text or a voice note or something like that. And there's just no connection to people. People are still craving connection. It's like literally the number one human need, second to food, right? Is like, you know, feeling that sense of belonging and connection. And so retreats just do that. And a yoga community does that. And you find people that are more and more like you wherever you go to hang out.
Yeah. Oh, look, that's beautiful. I think you've got so much to offer and so much wisdom. And just quickly, so the retreats that do you only do them south of the river at the moment, or do you do them sort of all over, I guess, the metro area and regional?
I've done a couple slightly north of Perth. I tend to hold them at the studio I work at just because it's nice and convenient. They supply everything. It is a beautiful studio. It is a very community centered, studio as well. It's not over commercialized or anything like that, and I really love that about Spunda. So if anyone hasn't been to Spunda, definitely go and check it out. And my weekends away. I've done a couple in Denmark, a couple in Margaret River. I'm hoping to get one in Bali in the new year for businesswomen specifically. And I'll probably have another weekend away one down south in sort of Margaret River way in about August. I'm hoping to get that happening soon. So yeah,
Beautiful.
kind of varies really.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
So for anyone out there listening today who wants to come and do some yoga or learn more about your retreats or just have a chat, what's the best way to contact you?
Look, I hang out on Instagram probably more than I would like to admit. So feel free to jump over and drop me a DM or give me a follow over on Instagram. My Instagram is harmony_jade. And so you'll find me over on Instagram, otherwise at my website, which is harmonyjade.com.au. And if anyone's interested in either retreats, there's a wait list for retreats, so you can just jump on the wait list through the website. And that way you get all the information that you could possibly want for any upcoming retreats and early bird discounts. And likewise, if you're interested in more of a holistic approach to life and business, then I offer a 30-minute free consult as well to get started.
Oh, beautiful. And so we'll also put all that information in the bio below. So look, anyone out there who has been ignited by today's conversation and who either wants to start their yoga journey or continue it with someone like-minded, definitely reach out to Harmony. So look, thanks again for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. What a pleasure. Thanks.
Oh, it's been a beautiful conversation. I really love your wisdom and I love the journey that you've had. So look, thank you. And for the listeners out there, I hope you've got a lot out of today's conversation. Reach out to Harmony and we'll be back up soon with some more episodes.